Welcome back to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is Wendy Landry, the mayor of Shuniah, and also the president of NOMA, the Northern Ontario Municipal Association.
Northwestern Ontario Municipal
Northwestern
Association.
Ontario. Yeah. Just before we get to NOMA, though, I want to make a link to what you shared, that you started getting involved really around your children.
Yes.
And trying to create a better environment, a better life for your children.
Right.
And that's part of community safety. And that really leads to how we govern ourselves and how we work together. So that real basic desire of any parent to provide a good life for your children sounds like it's a foundation kind of on that you're operating from.
Absolutely. I think that if you go back, we always say it takes a community to raise a child. And we all want great, sustainable communities. We want safe communities. We want vibrant communities. And we want our communities to have a future where our children are comfortable and involved. We want our children to be involved in our communities, right? I want my children to be involved in the community. I think it's everybody's right and duty to participate in making our communities positive, vibrant, and sustainable. So that's where it stems from in making the world a better place, obviously.
And so you faced certain challenges in Shuniah. It sounds like that maybe you saw a link to other municipalities throughout the Northwest.
So I think that all of our communities in the Northwest are advocating for viable, safe, and vibrant communities. And we want our communities, we want to keep our people in our communities, we want to keep our youth in our communities. And I found that when we went to the District Municipal League meetings and the opportunity to speak with other communities, started to drive my advocacy piece on we need to really speak on behalf of our communities in the Northwest. And we need the other part of the province to hear about our communities, whether that's through tourism, whether that's through industry, business development, economic development, all of those topics, right? So I found that when I was on the Thunder Bay District Municipal League, I found that we had a lot in common with other communities. And from that took me to the NOMA representative, and then eventually just this past April being elected by the 37 municipal leaders and councillors, members of our NOMA association, to vote me as their president to speak on everyone's behalf.
Now, throughout Northwestern Ontario, you talk about vibrant and sustainable communities. And we've had lots of challenges throughout the Northwest with many of our municipalities in a kind of a boom and bust cycle, whether it's forestry or mining or even railroad, transportation. The jobs come and the folks come and they build their lives, and then all of a sudden the mill's gone or the mine shuts down, and what do? And there's all kinds of pressures. How do we face those challenges? What do we do? Do we just accept that after 20 years everybody's got to leave and we shut down, or is there another way to do it?
Definitely, we don't accept that whatsoever. And I think that how we do it and what we do is we push forward, and we push forward with good leadership and strong voices. So not only locally, but across the province, I think it's extremely important that the provincial government, the province as a whole, and the feds understand that the future of Ontario is with the Northwest. We do have natural resources. We do have the abilities here to help this province prosper and be vibrant as well. And we are ready, willing, and able to do our part. The problem is to be heard from the Northwest. And I think that is a challenge, and that's a challenge that Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association takes on quite seriously. And I think that it's a position that we take, we do quite well. We have a great relationship with all three parties from provincial government, and we are very adamant about not only putting forward the challenges that we have in the Northwest, but putting forward what we believe to be solutions. When, whether you're talking about industry, my work at Union Gas, or any different sector, when you're looking to make changes, policies, etc., who do we go to? We go to the subject matter experts. We in Northwestern Ontario are our subject matter experts. And I can't say that loud enough to everyone out there in the entire province. From the GTA to this part of the province, we are our subject matter experts. When we talk about forestry, we've lived it. Those of us that are born and raised here, lived here all our lives. that have worked in the industries, that have watched it boom and bust, are the subject matter experts as to what we need to help this province move forward. And when we talk about the prescriptions bringing forward, whether it was the forest industry on the endangered species, why is it that people in the GTA are advising government on the endangered species of this area? We have our First Peoples, we have our associations, we have our municipal leaders, we have our homegrown subject matter experts in this area that I believe strongly, and so does NOMA, should have the ear of the province when you're talking about making policies that affect us here on the ground. When we talk about making us vibrant and sustainable, we continue to advocate for connecting our communities. The province subsidizes the transportation corridors and the transportation sector in the southern part of the province. We need to have those subsidies up here so that our folks can travel for their medical appointments, for jobs, for shopping, economic development, so that we can allow our people to live in our communities, but easily travel within our communities to access each other's and each other communities and what we have available.
Well, just on the news this morning, I heard that the bus service, the connecting Thunder Bay and Atikokan and Fort Francis is calling it quits.
Right.
How do we deal with that? What do we do?
So we have Common Voice Northwest that has a bunch of task forces as well, dealing with energy task forces, dealing with transportation task forces, you name it, we've got a task force for it. And transportation is intercommunity bus is all part of that task force as well. And we have the solutions offering to the province and the Ministry of Transportation, and are at the table discussing those options and ideas that we have going forward with those topics. And we believe that if you subsidize some of our carriers, like Casper has it, Caribou, subsidize them, because not the buses and the coaches are not going to be full all the time, but we need those links. We can't have them canceling because the buses are not full all the time. We don't have the populations that we have in the other part of the province, so the subsidies would go a long way in keeping those buses running for the availability for people to be able to access them. You know yourself, if you don't have a vehicle in Northwestern Ontario, you are stranded. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of options for you to get to different places. And we find that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are coming up with solutions, and I think that the government needs to take a serious look at subsidizing them.
What about the shared economy stuff? Like, with our communication links, we have opportunities opening up that we never had before. Is that something that's under review? Well,
I think that what we have to do is tell our story. We have to make sure that we have the ear of businesses, of government, and everybody else to say, hey, don't forget us up here. We have a lot of resources, we have a lot of land, we have a lot of people that we could put to work, that we can work with to fit whatever that fit might be into one of our communities. But I think what we need to do is make sure that we don't get forgotten by the business world and by the levels of government, that we are here, we're ready, willing, and able to work, and we can do this. So work with us, again, going back to my statement about us being the subject matter experts, that we can give solutions to all of these problems just within our own association. So one glove doesn't fit all in this province, and that needs to be the message going forward. I know that past President Dave Canfield, Mayor Canfield, often said that, and we will continue with that message going forward, that we need to sustain this part of the province. We have the mining.
We need to take a short break. Please stay with us, and we'll be right back talking about some of the possible solutions.